in the rock. If I'm out here a couple months, you said that we'll see it all the time. However, those interactions can change. And hopefully, we'll give you some techniques that could help that interaction change by helping creating some communication to help that interaction to change. One way I think the communication can work is, number one, we have to understand the culture of the NYPD. They are, quote unquote, in authority. And authority always like to be dealt with respect. And sometimes, even though you give respect, you might not get respect, but oftentimes you may get respect if you give respect. And speaking the language can help neutralize or diffuse some of the situations, not all situations. One of the things that you can say is, "Excuse me, officer, I'm not doing anything wrong. I would like to know why you're stopping me." And saying it like a grown man, eye to eye, eyeball to eyeball. And if that doesn't, and you know what? That may not work. That may not work. However, it may work. And if it does work, that may save you from going down to central booking and having your fingerprints on record for something that you didn't do, or doing nothing at all. But if that interaction seems to be a bit different, it may work. Some of your rights, again, you have a right to remain silent. You give your name, you give your address, and you don't need to really give anything else. And being courteous in answering the proper questions. And the questions to answer, officer, I'm going down the block. That's it. You don't have to say why. But what happens is sometimes we think we can out-talk a situation. There's nothing you can say to the officer that's going to get you free. Nothing. If the officer has you in custody, has you locked up, there's nothing you can say that's going to make him take off the cuffs. So the best thing to do is say nothing at all and say, "I would like to exercise my right to an attorney, and I'd like to exercise my right of remaining silent." Because after it's all said and done, whatever you would have said without an attorney can get you in trouble. There's nothing you can say that can't get you in trouble. There's very few instances where an officer will have you in handcuffs, and then because of something you said that was so sweet, for him to take the handcuffs off. So it really makes sense to remain silent. It really makes sense to exercise the right to legal counsel, because everyone here has a right to legal counsel. And your attorney can assist you with not putting your story together, but your attorney can assist you with creating the timeline, an accurate timeline, to help represent the story that you must give to a jury, you must give to a judge in order to be exonerated. However, we have a lot of folks that got the gift to gab, and they really think they could talk their way out of any situation. Any situation. And then by the time they come to my office and I'm looking at the court papers, I'm looking at confessions that were made. I'm looking at recorded statements. I'm looking at video statements. And at the end of the day, there's a certain amount of time that the officers can hold you before they let you see your parents. Before they let, if you're under 18. Before you get to speak to an attorney. So we have to be very mindful and understand that. Because sometimes they'll tell you, "Boy, you're never going home. You're here forever." But you know what? You give us a statement, you could go home tomorrow. You could go home tonight. Matter of fact, you could go home in 30 minutes. Just let us know exactly what you did and how you did it. And sometimes we feel that, well, I don't want to be here for another 3-4 hours. If I write anything down, I can get out of here. And that's what happens. And you all are laughing, but you'll be surprised how many young brothers like you is in C-74 right now because they wrote a confession. You'll be shocked. You'll be shocked. And when you look at the confession, not only did they incriminate themselves, they put 3 or 4 other people that weren't there in that confession. So when they're knocking on apartment 12F, and you say, "Well, I was texting or talking while this workshop was going on," maybe you should have been listening. So at the end of the day, gentlemen, I hope that you understand some of the rights that you have But the major right that I want you to understand is that you have a right to remain silent and you have a right to legal counsel. At any time that you get stopped, you don't have to say anything except identify who you are, where you live, and you should have ID. And if you don't have ID, I would recommend you do get ID. Although in New York State, you don't necessarily have to have ID, but if you don't have ID, they have a right to take you down to the precinct. So if you do have ID, carry it with you. Carry it with you. And at the end of the day as well, I would ask all of you, young men, I know, you know, Lil Wayne told you, yeah, at this time, son, Lil Wayne was in PC. He was with 2 warriors walking around. He didn't do time. He didn't do time. But some of these hip-hop artists will come out and tell you how tough they are. I can tell you. Some of these tough guys out here, they're not really tough when they're behind those walls. They're real tough out here. And I want to tell you, some of them, I saw in the little library, they worked as my clerk. They weren't tough at all. And then I come on the block and I see them, and they're real tough. Real tough. I mean, real tough dudes. Life is different when you get behind those walls. Life is totally different. Life is totally different. And they say, you know, you're not supposed to put adolescents with adults. That's a lie. I worked at C-74 where they had 35-year-olds with that little 15-year-old. I worked at C-74, that young cat that didn't even have hair on his chin yet, and he was with a 35-year-old. I can't even say what was happening. And you know what? And the interesting thing about it was that some of these young people that were being circulated within the prison industrial complex, if they had a shot to make a different decision, they may have. But you all have a shot to make the best decision of your life. Of your life. Of your life. It's up to you. You can either make this decision, which more than likely going to end up this way, or you can make that decision, which is more than likely going to end up that way. And I know, you know, some of us, we think we're the best hustlers around. Well, the best hustlers got caught. The best hustlers got caught. John Gotti. Nobody did it better than John Gotti. He ended up dying in prison. And he was connected.
Not in jail.
Not in jail. He was in prison. Died of cancer. Some of the best. And I know some of you may think, well, I'm slick, son. Nobody else. Some of the slickest dudes are in there. The slickest. And some of the toughest dudes, nigga, I'll never snitch. I'm not built like that. Get me out of the black hole. Who they talking to? Who they talking to? Snitching. 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 Some of them at night, you can hear them crying for their mom. Crying for their mom. Crying for their mom. A lot of guys think that, you know, it's the hip-hop videos and the streets, you know, dudes come back, they have crazy street cred. At the time, I was upstate, I'm brolic right now. But they're not going to tell you the other side of it. You never hear the other side. You don't hear the other side. And one of the things I got to tell you, when you're up there, real gangsters don't do prison. They don't do jail. So your boys that's out here now, you're not getting a prison up there. They don't do jail. Gangsters don't do jail. They're not taking an 8-hour bus ride to Sing Sing, to Greenhaven. They're not taking it. They just don't do it. So that cat, that's my man. He's your man for now. He's your man for now. When the judge says 3 to 12, let's see how much of your man he is. Let's see if you get that commissary. Or you get that commissary taken. That dude, that's my man, 10 grand. This is my son. That's my man. That's my man. Let's see if your man gonna do that 10-year bid with you. Let's see that. Let's see if that's your man. The only person that may do that bid with you is your mama. That's the one that we see coming through the visiting room crying. And that's the one that says, my baby has never done nothing to nobody. And then I look at the rap sheet, baby, so first degree. But that's my baby. It's very few times you'll see a dad going through the visiting room. Very few times you'll see a girlfriend going through the visiting room. And sometimes she may be going for not only you, and you rarely see your man going through that visiting room. Because he's going to let you do your time, and then when you come home, he's going to act like it's all good again. So gentlemen, I just want to say, you may not hear this from me ever again. Make your decisions wisely. Because the only benefit that you can have to the community is being out here. Once you're in there, it's a totally different story. Totally different story. Contributing to the community is hard to do it from in there. Because you get 12 cents an hour. How can you support your family making 12 cents an hour? Some brothers are up in there, their mother died, their father died, they never get to see them before they dead. Their sister passed away, they never get to see their sister. And it's all about making the right choices. And I would hope, because I got to tell you, some of the best minds that I've ever encountered, I didn't encounter them out here. Some of the best and brightest minds, geniuses that I've met was behind those walls. And it made me cry at night knowing that some of those young men, I could have been in that same position if I would have made wrong decisions. Some of those young men should not be in there. They should be the doctors or the surgeons operating on somebody for 12 hours on an operating room. Some of those young men, they should have been the attorneys representing some of the defendants. Some of those young men, they should have been the mathematician before a college or boardroom because they knew how to count money better than anybody else. Some of the best and brightest we have is not out here, but in there, based on some of the decisions that we make. So it's all about making the right decisions, and I would hope that all of the brilliance that we see out here today, you all make the right decisions. Because today, y'all about to play a game of basketball. And y'all think y'all playing basketball, but y'all not really playing basketball. What you're engaging in is supreme mathematics. When you could come to this three-point line, stop, fade away, and hit a three, that's physics, man. That's not basketball.
Talk to him.
That's mathematics at its highest level. Because you're calculating the distance between the point that you're at and the destination you want to go to. That's supreme mathematics. That's not basketball.
I just learned something.
Talk to him. Some of you that's out here are social scientists. Social scientists. When you could be a man like him, this dude right here that's laughing and got 7 people listening to him, he's a master psychologist and doesn't even know. A master psychologist because he has 7 other people laughing at a very serious program. He's controlling that whole board right there. He got them on that psychology chair, giving them psychotherapy. And they don't even know it. They're having out-of-body experiences and they don't even know it. He got mad power.